There are moments in history when a new current begins to flow, not from politics, not from invention, but from the quiet turning of the human mind. In 19th century America, such a current began to move, one that would question, challenge, and ultimately redefine how we see ourselves, nature, and the divine. It was called Transcendentalism. At its heart, Transcendentalism was not a doctrine or a dogma. It was a way of seeing. It arose in New England during a time when America was still young, confident, and restless. The Industrial Revolution was changing cities. Factories hummed with new machines. Religion was still the pulse of daily life. But for many thinkers, something was missing. They looked at the growing noise of progress and felt a quiet question rising within. In all this movement, have we forgotten the soul? The movement's leading voice was Ralph Waldo Emerson, a man who left the pulpit to find truth in nature and within the self. In his famous essay, Nature, Emerson wrote that every person carries a spark of the divine, that true revelation doesn't come from institutions, but from the inner world. To him, the forest was a cathedral, the individual mind, a sacred text, and the act of seeing, of truly seeing, was itself a kind of prayer. Among those who heard Emerson's call was a young man named Henry David Thoreau. Thoreau believed that society had become too crowded with conformity, that freedom was not a matter of politics, but of spirit. He went to live beside Walden Pond, not to escape the world, but to understand it through simplicity. For 2 years he wrote, reflected, and watched the seasons change. He discovered that wealth was not found in possessions, but in perception, in learning how to be awake in the presence of life. His words still echo today. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately and see if I could not learn what it had to teach. Together, Emerson and Thoreau shaped a new philosophy, one that blended Western reason with Eastern insight. They read the Bhagavad Gita, Buddhist sutras, and Confucian writings. They found in them a reflection of their own intuition, that truth lives not in temples or governments, but in the quiet center of the self. For them, God was not above, but within, and nature was not a resource, but a teacher. Transcendentalism asked humanity to pause, to look inward, to trust that intuition was as sacred as scripture, and that the human spirit could transcend fear, conformity, and doubt. It was, in many ways, the beginning of a new kind of freedom, one not written into any constitution, but felt in the depth of the heart. Though the movement eventually faded, its influence never did. It whispered into the ears of poets, reformers, and dreamers. It prepared the ground for the Beat generation, for modern environmentalism, for mindfulness and self-reliance movements. Every time a person turns off the noise of the world to listen to their inner voice, they are, knowingly or not, answering the same call that Emerson once heard beneath the trees of Concord. The Transcendentalists taught us something timeless, that the truest revolution is internal, that divinity is not distant but present in the here and now, and that within every human being lies a boundless, untamed sky, waiting only to be noticed.